especially for all those people that are currently in Mina, it's a great moment of anxiety because it is their first Hajj. And they don't know what's next.
Exactly.
They don't know what is next. And you know what? Every little person that says something, it becomes a form of reality, irrespective whether it's truth or not. He said and she said, this is what's going to be. Read this, read that, read this, do this. And you have this sense of anxiety. I need to complete that amount of surahs. I need to complete that amount of wazifas. I need to do this. I need to do this. Otherwise, my Hajj will not be accepted. Now, all these are anxieties. I'm saying to everyone, chill. Just take the chill pill. Allah is so merciful. Allah is so gracious. Allah, I say, you know what? I always, whenever people says, read this amount of wazifa, read this, I think and I reflect on all those poorest of the poor people that come from those gaons in India and Pakistan
in
that don't even know what those wazifas are all about. But what they do know is that connection with Allah. And just that word Allah and His beloved Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam is enough. Because it may just be that that one person's Hajj is accepted and the entire congregation of 2 million people are connected and accepted.
Absolutely.
It is so, I always believe and I always say, ask in the language you communicate best with Allah. And Allah knows it all. I'm going to make this appeal, Salma, to all those who judge that are currently in their homes, in their cars, in their businesses, or where they are, that are listening to us. And if you are not, then connect with those partners of yours that are not listening, and let's go back. Let's go back from 35 years going back, and let's talk about your feelings of Hajj. Whether it was with me, mashallah, most of them by that time were with me. But even if it's not, let's just talk. Let's talk about the Hajj from 1988 going up to my first Hajj. My first Hajj, Salma, was in 1983, Faisal. When? 1983. And you know what the amount of people were there? Salma, take a guess. There's never been another Hajj like that.
In total or just South Africans?
In total.
A few million?
No.
4.2 million.
Oh, subhanallah.
And what was the temperature then? It was in high peak summer.
Yeah.
Sure.
52 degrees.
Yep.
Salma, let's go back. 4.2 million, 52 degrees. What do you think were the facilities then, Salma? Faisal, reflect. Reflect. I want you to reflect.
Well,
and let's talk. You've been for Hajj, Faisal?
Yes.
You've been for Umrah, Salma? You've been, of course, I know.
I did Hajj when I was 9.
Exactly. Right?
Oh, that was a long time ago.
Now let's go 83. 1983 was my first Hajj. I've never, Faisal, experienced another Hajj like 1983.
Absolutely. Your first Hajj is always the most memorable one.
And I'll tell you why. Yeah. I was the youngest in that group, Salma. And you know who were with me? You know all the Kazi boys, the Hafiz.
Yes.
They were, all those brothers were with me.
Okay.
Mu'in, who late for Kazi, Farooq Kazi, all of them, they were with me. And Maulana Yusuf and his wife, Babu late Aba Musa. Wallahi, we had a crowd of great personalities that were with us.
Absolutely.
And I swear to you, what a Hajj. Let me tell you, if people talk of Hajj today, right? It took us 29 hours from Arafat right to Mina. And what type of transportation, Salma? Faisal? School buses.
Wow.
I recall it.
Every bus was a school bus. Nothing different.
With the driver who doesn't know the route.
Right? And not only that,
genuine.
And not only that, those buses, if that vehicle don't move, then of course those air conditions don't work.
Yes.
And you imagine 29 hours from Arafat to Mina with 52 degrees, and I swear to you, they were just collapsing.
29 hours.
29 hours.
Was that because of the traffic?
Salma?
Does that include Muzdalifah?
Passing Muzdalifah, there was no Muzdalifah for us.
Okay.
Really. We had to get off from the bus while the bus was still standing. The bus would move at 20 meters, 30 meters, 50 meters. 4.2 million without proper infrastructure. And you know what our tents were, Salma? They were those army tents. You know those army brown tents?
Yeah.
And what were our toilets like? Pits. Holes. That's where we were.
Yeah.
But you know what? I swear to you by Allah, if ever in my life I've enjoyed a Hajj, it was the Hajj of 1983. The satisfaction that we got when we got back from there was immense.
Absolutely.
And those Hajjis till today, we can reflect on those days. Really, it was a beautiful Hajj. And Salma and Mr. Faisal, when I served people thereafter, and you noticed the changes that took place. On those days in 1983, the Medina streets were full of cobble still. The cobblestones?
Yes, absolutely.
The hotels that are currently now were part of the haram.
Yes.
If those were in the place then.
Yeah, even when we went, I still have those pictures that I always look at, and where we stayed, and the little balcony was right in front of the Gumba de Khazra, and those Nakhil, I think it was called.
Yes, Nakhil.
And it was all gone.
Now
It's
all part of the haram.
Yes.
All that is part of the haram. So really, it is a moment to reflect those beautiful. And you know what, Salman and Faisal? At that time, when a janazah had to come out of the haram, it used to go through the alleys of those cobblestones to Baqiyah.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And then
absolutely.
now it's just like a straight line from the haram into the Baqiyah.
Yeah.
But that time, the entire courtyard of the haram was part of Medina Munawwara cobble streets. I can still picture them, Faisal.
Let's open the lines to our callers as well. We want to remind them, should you wish to send us a WhatsApp message at any point in the program, you're welcome to do so. 060-904-1056. That's the number you can send a WhatsApp to. If you wish to call us in studio, please call 0861 904 904. That is the number you can call us if you wish to speak to us, 0861 904 904, or send a WhatsApp to 060-904-1056. Sister Shamim Hafaji says, mashallah, it's so good to hear you, Brother Nazir Malik in studio as well. Uncle Faisal, you mentioned 2006 was your Hajj.
No, my first Hajj was 89.
89.
Sorry, 88. My apologies, 88.
In 88?
88, yeah.
The year I came into this world, you made Hajj.
I'm just confused. The year of the fire. Fire was 89. 89. Okay.
Why
89.
fire? What fire?
There was a massive fire in Mina. Massive fire in Mina.
Absolutely.
And that was a year.
Tell us about that fire. What was?
Okay.
If you can recall.
You want to speak about it, Faisal?
No, you go for it, but I'll tell you some of the miracles.
I'll tell you what happens there. You see, in those years, we used to have buildings for our people in Mina. There was no tents that time. So we had these little private building owned by the Qurayshis, the family of that were predominantly in Mina itself. And these people used to wait once in a year to hire those buildings.
Yes.
The conditions in the whole year were not, those buildings were never occupied. So they used to deteriorate over the year. But however, those were about the best things that happened in Mina at that time, because we kept these people in buildings and where you had like 10 and 20 people in a room and you had communal toilets and things like that. But the facilities were nice because why? We had them very close to the Jamarat.
Absolutely.
We were very, very close to the Jamarat. And in that year, I clearly remember that there were tents that were as far as 2 kilometers away from the Jamarat.
Yes.
Right? And those tents caught on fire. There were South Africans in those tents. Now, there at that time also, it was like a cheap Hajj and an expensive Hajj. If you stayed in a building at that time, the building cost per person used to range between 2,500 to 3,000 riyals. At that time, the rand and riyal was almost the same.
On par, yes.
On par. Okay? So it wasn't that bad, but still you had those that couldn't afford it and that were staying in tents.
Yeah.
But those tents on that year caught on fire, right? Remember, people used to use gas stoves and things like that.
Now gas cylinders are not allowed.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
From that
Right.
time. Yeah.
From that time.
Yeah.
So now there's no more individuals cooking there,
Yes.
but organized by the muassasa. But now also that has been phased away, where you have these catering kitchens that cater
Yes.
from outside.
Yeah.
Okay. But let me put this picture to you. So there was this big state of chaos. And I'll tell you what, this tent was beyond a bridge, okay, on the other side of a bridge.
Yep.
And people started jumping onto the bridge,
Sure.
from their tents onto the bridge.
Yep.
But when the crowds were so big, they started falling off those bridges.
Yes.
Ya Allah.
And I
And I
swear to
witnessed
you,
that firsthand.
You did?
Yes.
Yes. And you know what? It was quite, there were disasters, other disasters also, like in the Qurbani area, where the authorities had a Qurbani stand where you used to go and cut your animals there. And that too, there was chaos to the extent where people were crumbled in those tunnels. There were 2 incidents, 2 years it happened like that. Okay. But alhamdulillah, we've come past all of that. And I remember that fire once so clearly, Salma,
Yeah.
for one reason. I had my people in my buildings, which is near the Jamarat. And now people had no accommodation. And wallahi, all we did was accommodated all of them that were there from South Africa.
I can only imagine. Uncle Faisal, tell us, what do you remember?
No, I
from
remember
that?
very clearly. I was walking up, I seen the thing, and then we had some ulama who were there, and they said, also start reading Allahu Akbar. So we all started reading. And we literally seen a wind come and the fire change its direction. I mean, that is firsthand. Absolutely. I was quite surprised. Yes, people running like crazy. And then I got into our tent, but then, the ladies and men were all separate. And suddenly there came a call that evacuate, and everybody ran in all directions, which means that my wife ran north, I might have run south, and whatever. And everyone's just running helter-skelter. And then we had to gap in wherever we could, because it was people all over the place. There's no place to run. And, we went through some alleys and what have you. Alleys, I mean, by the tents. And it was so coincidental that myself and my wife both ended up at the same spot, running in different directions.
Wow.
I mean, how is that possible?
Subhanallah.
But what was what came of it is that everybody from all over the world that were there all gathered right at the end of the tunnel that brings you brings you into Mina. I think, and everybody was there. And now we found that nobody's got any food because we just left everything and we ran. And we were now just literally looking into our little knapsacks, and whatever we find, we're just sharing. And that camaraderie was something
superb,
unbelievable. I mean, if you found a packet of nuts in your bag, it was like gold at that time because people were hungry, and we were just sharing nuts amongst people. People were finding cakes. I mean, it was unbelievable. And we were there for almost like 4 to 6 hours. And now many people are scared to go back to the tents because they don't know what's cutting on top.
Yeah.
And all you could see at that time were just ambulances going past, mortuary vans going past. So, you just think the worst. It's your first time you're there as well. And, it's now like 4 o'clock. You got to you do what you have to do. Tomorrow morning you leave for Arafat. And it was, but the experience was something else. And the camaraderie that developed over there was something else.
And that's where the whole concept of Haji Bain and so forth is born, because you build that sort of relationship
it's unbelievable.
with those with you.
Yeah.
We want to get into that, and also that era of there were always stampedes every year. Somehow or the other, you always heard of these stampedes and so forth happening. There's so many messages that are coming in, so I'm going to read through them very quickly. Salam Salma, I did my Hajj and a few Umrahs with Nazir Bhai. What beautiful Hajj and Umrahs we had. The same advice he gave us about making dua. Allah bless him and give him good health and long life with Afia. Ameen. I did Hajj when the tsunami took place. There was a tsunami on Hajj?
Not in Hajj, in the year of the tsunami.
Oh, the year of the tsunami.
Yes.
Okay, my apologies.
That was in Indonesia, I think.
I'm just wondering now where the tsunami happened. Somebody else says, what a wonderful program. I've not been to Hajj yet, but believe me when I say my heart aches so badly to visit the land of my Nabi Pak sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I'm aching for an invite to the Holy Land. Please make special dua for me and all that want to go. Another one says, hope you are well. I went for Hajj with Brother Nazir in 1997. We had a Hajj of a lifetime, alhamdulillah. We were there when the fire took place as well. Our Hajj was so memorable. It's so true. Brother Nazir really looked after us. This is from Farida Muhammad. Someone else also for Brother Nazir, Jazakallah for the invaluable Hajj experience in 2006. You were very accommodating and compassionate with the Hajis. Someone else says Hajj in 1997. I remember the fire as well in Mina. I remember we stayed in Marwa, Jul in Makkah. It brings back memories. He remembers Hotel As-Salam, long steps. As-Salam, Uncle Nazir. As-Salam Hotel. Tell us about the As-Salam. Yes, please.
Salma, I swear to you, today, if As-Salam was there,
could tell stories,
the richest of the richest stayed in As-Salam, Faisal.
Yes.
Believe you me. Why? Because it was our food. And that's what's missing now. That's what's missing. The home food of South Africa is missing in Makkah. And As-Salam was a home for one and all. I swear the richest of the richest in Durban, Johannesburg, or Cape Town ate from As-Salam Hotel. It wasn't the best of hotel. It wasn't a 5-star hotel, but it had 5-star comforts in the sense that, you know what, you were like home in As-Salam. And only now, even the rich will still be there.
So that
the
also
location was superb.
It was.
Just 250 meters from the Haram. And the most important thing is we had the basement underneath.
I was just going to say, I somehow remember walking under like this dodgy scaffolding and real down below, and it's dark, and people said you couldn't see clearly from the windows. And then I also somehow, I was really young, but what was it called? Misfala?
Nisfala, the area was Nisfala.
Yes, and we had birds laying eggs outside our windows, and you shared communal bathrooms.
No, Assalam always had en suites. No, Salma, don't do that.
No, but you
don't
can't
say that. Assalam always.
When you're reflecting 50 years back, so that's what happens. That's what happens. You said you were 9 at that time, was it?
I was 9.
Okay.
I was 9.
No, definitely. Assalam had all en suites. It was a beautiful hotel located from 1990.
But it's memories.
Yeah.
That is
Beautiful
Hajj.
memories.
That is Hajj.
Absolutely.
It is memories.
And you know what, Salma? I swear to you, in Ramadan, we had a full course like you would have in your own home, including the halims, the bhajjas, the samosas. You name it, whatever you had in your home, you had at Assalam. And Alhamdulillah, in Hajj too, mashallah, we gave everything that a South African would want to and desire to have. And so that the comfort of being away from home, home away from home.
Absolutely.
And that's what Assalam gave, that feeling of comfort, home away from home. But you know what? I want to appeal to all of you that are listening in right now. Let's talk about our Hajj. Because one of the things that I have noticed over my period of serving the Hajjaj for 35 years is that the spirituality has been lost.
In fact, I was thinking...
And you know what, Faisal, this is a sad state of affairs. And I wait for people. In my days, you know, I used to personally give my lectures myself, Salma. You know that, eh? And it's just because of my passion for Hajj. It is a topic. It is an event that's very, very close to my heart. Really,
you can hear.
It is very, very close to my heart, and may Allah accept any of my Hajj and some of my khidmat that the people. You know, you spoke about the fire that day. We welcomed everybody into our tents. Salma, till today, I get people saying, you know, I don't know them. We don't know who they were then. You know, saying, you know, you helped us here. You did this, you did that. That day of Arafat. Day of Arafat, even if I had 1,000 people, but I would cook like for 3,000 people.
Okay.
And at that time, you know, the Cape Townian Hajis never had proper arrangements. And we used to make sure we fed them all in that day. But Alhamdulillah, it was such a blessing. And you know, you remember when you go out in public places and people say, do you remember? I don't know. But you know what? I still make dua for you.
Uncle Faisal?
Yep. I'm just thinking back. I mean, those memories, you can't get them out of your heart. I mean, you know, I said it was not 87 again. It was 97. I can't remember that. I keep on forgetting.
Yeah, so many are sending messages saying 97.
97. My apologies. And then I went again in 2006. But this time it was with the media. So this was a bit of a different Hajj because it was more like, you know, you had the facilities from the government, etc. for the media house. So it was, but you can't beat, you know, going on your own. You can't beat that because then you with the public, you're doing what everybody else is doing, and that's what I think spirit of Hajj is all about. It's not this fancy thing being, you know, transported to point A, transported to point B without hassles, having fancy accommodation at each spot. It's not the same.
Yeah.
But look, of course, 266 was excellent as well. But the 1997 is etched in the memory, undoubtedly. And I just want you to go back to Mina the first time you were there. I mean, you came. You probably came from Azizia. At that time, I don't think they used to do Azizia. You come direct from Makkah.
Yeah, that was in Makkah.
Direct from Makkah.
Direct from Makkah.
So you came down from Makkah to Mina. How was the feeling? I know you were quite nervous at that time. It's your first Hajj. You don't know what to expect. You're also anxious. But let's talk about it.
You know what was the nicest part about that is that I was the youngest in that group at that time, and I went with an agent. Okay. And we were all together. Maulana Yusuf and all the Kazi boys were together. By that time, we've already created a sense of relationship.
Yes.
And remember, at that time, we used to go from 8 weeks before Hajj.
Yes.
Not 6 weeks and 5 weeks and all of that. So the amount, and we used to stay like 10 days in Medina itself.
Absolutely.
Okay. And
that would be so nice.
Yeah. And by that time, when it came close to Hajj, that family bond was already there. You know, Salma spoke about something just now about a bond that's created in Hajj.
Yes.
It's a crazy bond. No other bond in any other event of your life will it be as strong as this. Because you become so crazy that if you're walking on this side of the street and a friend of yours that's been a Haji Bain or Bhai walk in the other side.
You will
Hey,
run across.
Salma, how are you?
Yes, yes.
You go to
100%.
events, and that sense of excitement
That's it.
and that love that Allah places in your heart at that time is never to perish.
And you notice one thing, that when you meet him, even after 20 years, you're still discussing that Hajj.
Yes.
Some of the events of
Yes.
that time.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And remember, Faisal, we go back to now you're talking about Mina. We, at that time, were already premeditated that Hajj is a path of difficulties
Mhm.
and you have to cross those difficulties. You
Yeah.
understand? So you already are premeditated with all these kind of things. And when we went to Mina, like I said to you, those toilets were not like what you see today.
Mhm.
So we had to contend with all of that kind of thing. Things didn't go well as far as the food was concerned because with the crowd that was there, we couldn't end that day because the agent disappeared somehow or the other. But we were so content being supportive to each other.
Mm.
You understand? So to the extent that the pots that were there in Mina, we all took our day makers and threw the day makers into the pots. We then went out, brought ice, and put water into that thing.
I can imagine.
And Mina, I swear to you, we pulled out the day like that.
Mhm, mhm.
We pulled that day, we brought in fruits. Everybody had those little packs of whatever they may have had. And it was the most beautiful day of that day on Mina.
Let me go through some of the messages coming in as well. If you wish to call, the number is 0861 904 904. We are in a special Hajj broadcast. We have been hearing from Mina now and the live coverage from there, but we just thought we'll rewind a little bit and give you some memories and flashbacks. And if you want to share your own, please call in 0861 904 904. But let's go through the messages that have come. It was on Sunday. Salma, the fire was in 1997. My mother-in-law was caught up in that fire. She was separated from her group. She ended up doing the Hajj by herself. This is another message. One shared a video. I'm not sure if you can open videos. This was the Jamarat we did in 2022. We were warned about Stampede, but it was empty. That was also an interesting. We'll talk about that as well. How the Jamarat used to be and those piles of stones before. Someone says, Assalamu alaikum. I also did Hajj in 1997. I remember the fire. I won't forget the dilapidated Roda Suites. I'm not sure if she's referring to one of the hotels, I'm assuming. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Nazir, Faisal, and Salma. I went for Hajj in 2006. In Makkah, I was reciting from a kitab, du'as for the contentment of the heart. And a sister from India sitting next to me wanted to view the kitab. She was so emotional after that, begging me to give it to her. She was crying. She said, I want this for Arafat. She was saddened that she had only kitab, but she took her address and posted copies to her. And I will always recommend to take one extra.
Absolutely.
Contentment of the heart really
that's
is one of those
that you need nothing else.
You swear by those.
Yeah.
Another message said the best times we had was in Assalam Hotel, 1-star but very comfortable, and tasty meals were provided 3 times a day. You had style in making Hajis comfortable, Uncle Nazir. This one says, please request Hujjaj to make earnest du'as for Palestine. The people are in a dire situation. They are definitely. Salams, I haven't went to Medina. I don't think I go because it's not in my budget, but I believe when I cry and I see these videos, I even have a small Kaaba at home. Whenever I make dua at home, I look at my Kaaba and cry. Someone else says, is it possible to go on Hajj with the congregation with Maulana Nazir next year, inshallah? Maulana Nazir, inshallah. And so there's a few things that are coming out here. The concept of affordability of Hajj. We're going to go for a break, but when we come back, we'll talk on the spirituality aspect of Hajj over the years, whether it has it decreased or has it increased, or maybe it's just evolved in different sort of ways with the whole digital space that we are in right now. Also, the second aspect being, I cannot afford Hajj, or actually be called for Hajj. When is it your time, and Allah opening up doors in ways that you cannot imagine? So let's talk about that and the miracles that you've had as well. So you can call us in the studio, or you can just pop us a WhatsApp line as well. It's myself, Salma, Kazi with Faisal Suleiman and Nazir Malik in studio.
Looking to pick your next holiday? Make your way to One Stop Travel and Tours. At One Stop Travel, we offer a wide range of holidays at the most competitive prices. Group tours, tailor-made holidays, cruises, transfers, accommodation, travel insurance, and car hire. Visit our website on www.onestoptours.co.za for our current Turkey specials, Malaysia school holiday deals, and Umrah packages. Choose from a multitude of pre-made packages. Visit one of our branches in Overport, Gateway, Musgrave Centre, Fordsburg, Westwood Mall, Pavilion Shopping Centre, Chatsworth, Phoenix, and Cape Town. Contact us today on 0860 109 500. One-stop travel and tours. Your one-stop travel shop.
Assalamu alaikum. This is Dr. Ibrahim Dada from the Islamic Dawah Movement of Southern Africa, IDM. Please join us for a pledge line on Friday, 14th June on Straight Talk with Siraj Plaza at 7 p.m. We are raising funds for a masjid in the Calcutta Township in KZN. Shukran, Jazakallah khair.
This azan is sponsored for the Isal Sawab of Marhum Muhammad Farooq Latib and all Marhumeen. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant them the highest abode in Jannah. Ameen.
أعزائي المستمعين، حان الآن موعد أذان العصر لمدينة دربن وما حولها.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وبعثه اللهم
And
We
it
could
won't be
do
enough.
this every day.
But shukran, jazakallah khair. I think Fahim Jamadar is waiting to
Yes.
take over as well. Salma, so thank you for having me on your show.
No, it was not my show.
Yeah.
Like I said, today has been the Hajj. It's all about the Hajj. Everyone, all hands on deck. Just to wrap up, I'm going to read these last few messages.
But wait, before you go, I want to tell you all
Okay.
that no two person's Hajj is the same.
Absolutely
That is
not.
true.
Don't ever think you can be a husband and wife, but I still tell you that no two persons Hajj is the same.
Mhm.
It's what Allah meets out for you by
Sure.
the amount of dedication you give towards the journey.
Absolutely.
100%. On that note, here's the last few messages before we round up this program in particular. But don't forget, Hajj coverage continues all through the evening. Assalamu alaikum, Brother Nazir. I can vividly recall my Hajj in 2001 was the best memories ever and the best Hajj. We weren't short of anything. Lived in As-Salam. There we go. As well as remember your late mom and Yunus. May Allah Ta'ala grant them the highest stages in
Ameen.
Jannah.
Ameen.
My daughter was 8 years old at the time. Jazakallah khair for everything. This is from Farida Jogi. Another one said, Salma, you left out from Yusuf. Oh, the long story with Raja building. This is from Brother Yusuf. Nazir, you went that extra mile for us. Sorry, I left out his name. My apologies. This person says, I've not been for Hajj, but would like to hear more of Nazir Malik. Every time I listen to him, I get emotional. Still waiting for my call, inshallah. Trust me,
Ameen.
we will try and bring him on again, inshallah. The Tang juice is definitely a lifesaver on Arafat
yes,
Day. The Sahuk team keep us hydrated. Also, the tawaf was amazing, and the people from all over, the beautiful du'as being prayed, it's unforgettable. Another person says, best Hajj with Nazir Malik in 2003. Best food, subhanallah. This is Weldon, I think, or the place Weldon, or the name is Weldon, I'm not sure. But yes, this was something that I read, and I wanted to just read it out because I found it very apt, and I kept it for this moment. Hajj is meant to test your mettle in ways you will not be able to imagine.
Sure.
It'll mold you, it'll humble you and purify you, but it will be the making of you. It'll be your anchor for life, and it will be your core, your principles, your patience, your happiness, your lessons, your perspective. There was a reason Allah made it a pillar. May we understand it, embrace it, complete it, and be blessed with its reward.
Ameen.
Beautiful. With that, we wrap up here on this particular Hajj program. Up next, what you're going to hear is a live crossing to Maulana Bank. A big thank you to Rashid for his assistant, Zoha, official Hajj coordinator for this year, and everyone else part of the program. Thank you, Sister Shakira, as well, for joining us in studio. Brother Nazir Malik as well. Stay tuned with Radio Al Ansar for the ultimate Hajj experience over the next few days. It's been wonderful being in your company. We'll talk again soon. Assalamu alaikum.
إن الحمد والنعمة لنا الملك لا شريك له لبيك
The views and opinions expressed by the presenters and guests of Radio Al Ansar are not necessarily the views and opinions of Radio Al Ansar and the Al Ansar Foundation.
This program is proudly brought to you by Osman's Taj Mahal.